Vladimir Putin is the president of Russia and is considered the most powerful man in the world. He has an aggressive temperament since his childhood. Putin is known for his anti-Europe and anti-American policies. Putin became the center of criticism when he announced a military operation against Ukraine in February 2022, following a Russian invasion in 2014 that led to the independence of Crimea from Ukraine. Who is Vladimir Putin and why he is so aggressive? We will shortly know some facts about the world's most powerful person and the current president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. Putin was born on 7 October 1952 in Leningrad, Russia. He was the youngest of 3 children of his parents. His mother was a factory worker, and his father was a conscript in the Russian Navy. Putin got his early education at a local school in Baskov Lane. He was aggressive from his childhood and used to quarrel even against elder fellows. He was sometimes beaten by them, so he began learning judo at age 12. He was taught as a child that if you were forced into a fight, you should throw the first punch. Putin studied law at the St. Petersburg State University and graduated in 1975. After graduation, he joined the Russian intelligence agency KBC and worked there at different positions, mainly as a foreign intelligence officer. He served in KBC for 16 years before resigning as a lieutenant colonel in 1991. Putin began politics in St. Petersburg. He held different political positions from 1991 to 1996 before joining the administration of President Boris Yeltsin in 1996. He also served briefly in the Federal Security Service and as Secretary of the Security Council. In 1999, Putin was appointed Prime Minister of Russia. He was elected president in 2000 and re-elected for the second term in 2004. He served as Prime Minister from 2008 to 2012 because he couldn't serve as the president due to constitutional limitations, but was again elected president in 2012 in a controversial election blemished by allegations of rigging. He was re-elected in 2018, earning his 4th presidential term. Following a referendum, Putin signed controversial constitutional amendments in April 2021, which allow him to extend his presidency to 2036. Now let's take a look at the achievements and controversies of the world's most influential person. Being aggressive and 16 years of experience in the intelligence agency, Putin took aggressive stance against Europe and the United States. The critics of Putin accused him of following the typical Soviet Union's belligerent strategies. He resurrected the traditional parade of Soviet Union. Banned portraits of famous Russian dictator Joseph Stalin re-emerged in his reign. At the same time, he is very popular among Russian people for restoring the country's glory of the past. Putin still cannot accept the collapse of the Soviet Union and calls it the biggest geographical destruction of the 20th century. Ever since he was an intelligence officer at KBC, he has been criticizing the expansion of NATO across the Russian borders. He had already warned Ukraine to stay away from NATO, while Ukraine wanted to take advantage of better relationships with Europe and the US to join NATO. Following aggressive military strategies and exploits, Putin was able to retain an impression of power that has also helped him achieve his greatest political and strategic successes. After assuming Russian presidency, Putin tried to reduce the influence of liberal officials in the state's matters by appointing neutral and like-minded people to key positions. Putin has been ruling the country since 2000, becoming the longest reigning Russian ruler since Stalin, who ruled for almost 30 years between 1924 and 1953. Although Putin's current presidential term was to end in 2024, but due to a referendum on constitutional amendments held in 2020, he is now able to extend his rule until 2036. Apart from his bellicose style of ruling, he likes to involve in some layman's adventures like fishing, skydiving, and scuba diving. Putin divorced his wife in 2013 after 30 years of marriage. Putin barely talks about his family. He has 2 daughters. The elder daughter Maria is an educationist, while the younger daughter Katrina was a performer at acrobatic rock and roll competitions. That's it for today, guys. Hopefully you would have enjoyed this video. See you next time with more interesting stuff.